Good morning and welcome to Morning Coach. Today, I am so glad you're with us. It's JB. It's Monday. It is May 19th, 2025, ready to take it on. Episode 5701. Let's make sure we're doing our morning ritual, our morning routine, getting up, taking some time for self-care, getting here and listening to this coach cast. So important that you're getting that energy to start your day, and then organizing. Get that planner out and get the right perspective and the right priorities. How do we get the right priorities? As always, we have a mission of what we're going after and a vision of who we're going to become. And we're checking that right now, kind of seeing where we're at, what is going on, what's happening in life, and what changes can we make. And if we do that consistently over time, you're going to win. Pretty simple stuff, right? So let's stick to the basics. And then as we get advanced, make sure you're checking the Morning Coach news, the AI area, the longevity area. There's so much going on in so many different areas here at Morning Coach to help you in whatever it is that you are looking at. Because the truth is, a well-rounded life. I don't like balanced. I've just never liked balanced. I like more jazz. I've never met anybody that's really, truly successful that's extremely balanced, right? So typically there's going to be some things that you got to get after. When I'm training for a marathon, it takes a lot of work. It's just, that's going to take a priority, right? It's a place, and there's not going to be balance. And so you got to be able to flow with things and have jazz in your life. But with that being said, we've got to keep analyzing and looking at what's going on, what's bringing us happy, and taking it day by day. That's the key. And once we get that established, we can start moving forward. So you may want to go do some spiritual work, right? Which we have. You may want to go do some financial work and start, as we come into June, looking at the ILD. And one of the big things I'll tell you at Morning Coach that we're doing is these resources that we're creating. This is a new system. I used to launch all these things separately. It's all in there. So it's going to be there for the future. So don't feel anxiety that you have to do something today. Maybe it's not a priority, but maybe 2 years down the road, you're going to want to write a book, and you're going to want to put it out there and build your expertise. Or maybe you're going to want to take a book you already have and you're decided to go out there and, kind of rebirth it and remarket it. All that's going to be an ILD. So there's going to be a lot of different concepts. Like I said, spiritual, we've got some things coming in that area. Obviously AI is a new area that we're going into. And of course, health and longevity is just going to continue to grow and build. And if you're working on those specific areas, we're going to have the resources for you. You may not have them right away, but as we do it over time, you're going to say, hey, I want to go learn a little bit about this. It's all here. That's what it's about. Okay, so excited this week because we're in a check month, and as you know, it's PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act. If you got your plan working, we're checking to see what's going on. It's a perfect time to analyze what's happening. And this week, we've got a great week for you. We're going to be talking about you are the mirror, and what are you reflecting back? And so our topic's going to be this understanding of us from a leadership perspective. And then what can we do to be a better leader, a better person, and really understand these concepts? So today we're going to talk about the mirror, and we're going to talk about this idea of reflecting emotion and ideas back. Tomorrow we're going to do a deep dive. Obviously, we're in Rich Relationships with Selena. I absolutely love this book. I've mentioned before that if you go on the Compass, you should grab it. It's a great book on relationships, and relationships are one of those hard things to find books on, right? And instruction on. And as I've been mentioning in the last couple of weeks, as we discuss this, one of the big takeaways that I've gotten is, sometimes it's not about systems, right? Sometimes it's a relationship that you need. A relationship can all make all the big difference. And so we're going to be talking about that tomorrow and how to build those rich relationships, as Selena calls them. Wednesday, we've got understanding the leader's role in parenting and business. Again, it's very similar. We're going to be getting into leadership a lot this week, helping you, build on those skills to become a better leader. Thursday, we've got Ask JB, obviously, and we're going to talk about how do I change culture? And how do I lead a cultural shift at home and still maintain ILD life balance? This is going to be a good one because we're going to talk about this concept of working less, But when you have employees and people that have to work 40, 50 hours, 60 hours a week sometimes, and you're only working 20, how do you pull that off? And what are some things that we can do with that? So we're going to give you some tools for that. Friday, we're going to talk about running your own race with financial mirroring. It's a concept that we'll talk about and being very cautious of keeping up with the Joneses and trying to do things for other people. We're going to talk about running your own race. Saturday, obviously, is Dr. Paul. He's been doing a great job the last few weeks on digestion and understanding the depth of that. Again, it might be something that you not want to jump all the way into, but the resources are there, and we'll continue to get questions from you, which are great. I know David asked a question the other day in the longevity community, so we're going to continue to answer those and get to those. Okay, and then Sunday, we've got finding time for spiritual connection. Again, finding some time for spirituality is so important here at Morning Coach. Everybody has different beliefs, but we, really focus on finding that peace and that happiness and having that well-rounded life. Again, not balanced, but have every area covered. You never know when you're going to hear something that really makes a change for you here at Morning Coach, and that's what we're working with together. So this week, let's get right into it, is about understanding the mirror and who you are for others. It's about clarity, compassion, and correcting course. And today we organize ourselves to start this with awareness. So, I don't know about you, but there's been times when I've really had people upset me. And after some reflection, I realized it wasn't about them. And, if you think about it, I've had team members, I've had when we launched the big inner circle back in the day, I grew that to almost $1 million business, and it was really exciting for me. So much so that I took off a little bit from Morning Coach years ago, and I started focusing on this kind of retreat angle. And I love working with people. It's just fun. I just can't work with, everybody that I want to work with, obviously. And so the mastermind or the consortium that we do now really can make helps me do that. And the original inner circle was really cranking. We were having a lot of fun with it. And then I had somebody come in and wanted to do some coaching. And at that time, I wasn't doing individual coaching. So I thought, okay, I don't have a problem with that. And they started coaching one person. And then what happened was without my knowledge, it ended up being about 8 people. And it was, we're talking $5,000 a month coaching. So we're talking $45,000 a month coming in. And again, it really wasn't about the money with me. Obviously that's money we could put into Morning Coach. It could have been helping grow things. But at the end of the day, I wasn't told. And that was what was really hard. And it really caused, an integrity breakdown in the group and caused some PTSD. And for me, at that time, it was really tough because I believe in integrity. I believe in the chemistry of the group, and I had to close that group down. And not only did it, were we move in that direction, it was finally a 7-figure business and things were, growing. It was big. It really hurt me. It hurt me in a lot of ways. And at time I had some resentment. I was frustrated. I was angry at the person for doing it. I thought, why wouldn't you call me? Why wouldn't you let me know? Why wouldn't we work out some business deal that would make it work for everybody? That's what I believe in. I believe in communication. Obviously, our 4 legs of the table that we're going to be talking a lot about is really important, the communication aspect, and that was broken down. And so with that resentment and frustration, I really got angry. And I had to step back, and with some reflection, I realized that the problem was me. And it was because I didn't have clear expectations, as we talk about. I didn't put the rules in place. And because I had said, yeah, go ahead, do some fitness coaching with this one person, it led to more people and the assumption that I was okay with that. And the assumption was, things would work. And that was my mirror. That was my mirror of not being clear, not putting things together. Now, I would never do anything like that. But again, I will take total responsibility. I'm an adult here, and I wasn't clear in my leadership. I wasn't keeping an eye on things. I wasn't keeping track of what was going on. And so now I have a no sales policy on everything that I do. I don't let people do those type of things because it doesn't work, and I learned. So it was a life lesson. But again, thinking about that, I will look in the mirror and go, that was me. Why wasn't I on top of that? Why wasn't I in control? Stepping back, I realized everything happens for a reason. That wasn't the business model I wanted to build at the end of the day. It was at that time. But really what I want to do is build this structure and work with people, and then have a small group of people that I work with in the consortium. So it's been a lot of fun, but it was really hard on me in doing that. So when we understand this, we can start looking at our life and seeing what we're doing with other people. So the main message that I want you to get today is that when what you experience in relationships, especially frustration, is often a reflection of what you haven't resolved inside. And so I think back to that time, I still had some imposter syndrome. I thought I needed people around me that were yes people, and it just was not a healthy thing for me. And so the idea then in the concept that we're talking about here is a mirror theory. People act as mirrors to your inner beliefs and energy. So at that time, if I look back at that, my energy was positive, but my ego was pretty big. We had a big business, and I wasn't in a position of strength and understanding communication, and obviously the things that we know now. I hadn't evolved as a human being, and so I need to do some evolution. But that mirror thing is really what caused some of the issues. The other issue is that as that group grew, it became less about Morning Coach and more about like freedom business, which is okay. I enjoy working with that, but I'm a Morning Coach person. I want people to understand what's going on and what's happening here. And as we grew, we started getting a lot of people that weren't even in Morning Coach. So it didn't make a lot of sense. And so understanding that is really important. And then being able to look and go, what's happening with other people? And is it me? Is a really, really, I would say, grown-up thing to do. It's adulting at the highest level, right? So when we look at this, when someone triggers you or you get an issue with another person, you ask, where is this in me? Why is this happening? What do I need to do to make the changes? And when we think about our 4 legs of the table, when we're doing inner work in relationships, we look at our mission and vision. These are the 4 legs. Are you clear on your values and direction? At that time, I wasn't. I really didn't know what direction I wanted to go. My values were more freedom, so I was just letting everybody do what they wanted, where now it's more contribution. Understanding these help us in the big picture. Teams, are your relationships aligned with your growth? It's a support that you have, that second leg. Do you have the right people around you? Obviously, at that time, I didn't. I had 10 people working for me, and we weren't paying attention. Like it just 8 of them I were friends that I wanted to work with, and it just really wasn't a solid structure. And again, that's on me. Communication, are you expressing clearly or reflecting confusion? And if I think back to that, I was reflecting confusion. I wasn't clear. I should have said, look, you can work with this one person, nobody else, and we wouldn't have had the issue. Commitment to improvement, and are you working on what you're projecting? What are you putting out in the world? What are you doing? And by coming to Morning Coach every day, putting this energy together, you are working on your projections. So make sure you're understanding those 4 legs of the table and everything. We're going to be applying that to a lot of things, but it's really important we know what's going on. So use your Get It Done Now PDCA checklist to analyze recurring relationship issues. We're in a check month. Do you have some relationships that need some work? You can keep a reflection log to track what irritates you and what to learn from it. Again, this is kind of journaling that you can do. And you can ask yourself, what am I teaching others to reflect back to me? What am I putting out there? What is the energy that I'm putting out there? So your challenge today is to observe your reactions when someone triggers you and pause and write that down. What just happened? How did I feel? And what could this reflect about me? Why are you getting triggered? And one of the big revelations for me is there's going to be people that just don't get it. So why are you getting triggered? How can you move away from that? Facebook, for example, drives me nuts. And so being able to move away from that energy has been a big part of it. I'm still there, but I'm not as engaged as I used to be. Okay, so let's get a couple things for you to do today. How about the thought of the day? What you see in others is what you most need to heal in yourself. So is there hatred? Is there frustration? Is there anger? And you've heard me. I get frustrated. I don't like to be in the general population. Maybe that's on me. So changing that to love and bringing energy and taking it day by day as my focus, bringing good positive energy. And then a journal prompt for today is, what pattern keeps showing up in my relationships, and what might that say about me? What might that say about me? Okay, really, that's a good, noticing patterns that are showing up in your relationships. That awareness is so important. And Carl Jung, the psychologist, said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. And again, I think that's the key thing. What we're trying to do here at Morning Coach is create an awareness of what's happening within ourselves, and understanding what is happening with others is so critical. So let's break it down today. And again, your challenge is to observe your reactions. And when someone triggers you, pause and write this down. What just happened? How did I feel? And what could this reflect about me? And that awareness is going to start to serve you. Okay, so let's get out there and have a great start of the week. It's going to be a great one. A lot of things going on here. I'll be sharing more this week as we get into depth. Make sure you're checking the website again. Go to hub.morningcoach.com, the new platform, and we're bringing a lot of stuff. So I'm working on the AI structuring and things. So the CoachCast is primarily going to be teaching and organizing the CoachCast. I'll do some announcements and some special CoachCasts because we're bringing some team members on. But I do want to let you know that this is going to primarily be our communication teaching vehicle, and the news will be up on the website on the homepage with the weekly video updates. So make sure you're checking that out once a week. All right, awesome. Well, I love you. Get out there, have a fantastic start of the week, and I'll be back with more right here tomorrow. Get your day started on morningcoach.com. It's going to be a beautiful day.